Tonight on News Hour, retired military officers storm finance ministry over unpaid benefits. Abuja residents decry impact of arbitrary rent hike amid tough economic climate. Police confirm 2 men, not students, killed by improvised explosive device in Abuja. Away from Nigeria, Mahama returns to power as Ghana's president. Hello and welcome to the News Hour tonight on Trust TV. Over the next hour, we will bring you up to speed on details of the latest stories and events in different parts of Nigeria, and of course, the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and also developments on the international scene. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for joining us. We begin in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, where retired military personnel on Tuesday barricaded the entrance to the Ministry of Finance in Abuja with canopies and chairs, demanding the full payment of their long overdue entitlements. This protest follows a similar action in December, during which the retirees shut down the ministry over the government's failure to settle their claims. For months, the retirees were told there were no funds to clear their entitlements. Despite an official approval for payment, they are owed a 20% to 28% salary increment covering January to November 2024. The retirees are also demanding payments for other outstanding benefits, including palliatives for the period between October 2023 and November 2024. An additional 32,000 naira added to their pensions, a bulk payment of the security debarment allowance, and a refund of pension deductions from the salaries of medically boarded soldiers. In response to their December protest, the federal government paid 50% of the owed entitlements and promised to settle the balance. However, the retirees claim the government has failed to fulfill its promise, prompting the resumption of their protests. And now joining us in the studio is Deputy Veteran Commander Awal Abdullahi Aliyu, who is the spokesperson, Ministry of Defense, Ministerial Standing Committee on Military Veterans Welfare. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this seems to be a recurring decimal. I mean, just weeks to the January 15th Armed Forces Remembrance Day. This protest is coming up. You would recall this equally happened in 2022, 2023, 2024, and now 2025. What do you think is responsible for the insincerity on the part of stakeholders that has gone on during negotiations and talks that followed every protest?
Well, thank you very much. To an extent, government is a continuous process, and therefore, from one government to another, whatever is outstanding in the previous government should the incoming or present government should continue with it. That is number one. Number two, the issue of our outstanding benefit, which, like you rightly mentioned, from 20 to 28 increment, the bulk payment of the SDA, bulk payment of SDA, deduction of all these put together, the palliatives and what have you, are part of the challenges that we've been having. And we've been reaching out to government concerning these matters, complaining, writing letters, doing the needful. And lately, the Minister of Defense, Badaru Abubakar, of course in collaboration with the Minister of State, Matole, come up with a 5-man ministerial standing committee to interweave between the ministry and, of course, the retirees to the ministry in order to find a way of reaching out and to bridge the communication gap. But then along the line, we were made to understand the issue is the ministry is not actually the holder of the finances of the veterans. It comes from the Ministry of Finance, and then the Ministry of Finance will equally say it's from the it gives approval, and then Office of the Accountant General. But the whole thing is that the President and Commander-in-Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the payment of these outstanding allowances, and then they all usually tell us short of funds or cash backing and what have you. These have been part of what we've been going through. Hence the reason why naturally when the time comes, we'll write, we'll tell them that if they don't do it, then we'll have to go out on the street. In the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've been doing this, like you rightly mentioned, trying to get our entitlement, trying to get our right, reaching out and protesting before we'll be able to get what we're entitled. But fair enough. The last December, we had meeting with the Minister of Finance in collaboration or with under the coordination of the Minister of Defense, Badaru, and of course the Minister of State Defense, Matawale. We met with the Minister of Finance in the conference room of Minister of Defense, where we had an agreement with him on the issue of payment of the 100%. He told us that yes, it has been approved, but there is short of funds, so he can only oblige 50% on the 5th. We had that meeting with him on the 5th, and up till 12 midnight, we are holding that meeting with him, and then promised that by on or before the 25th of December 2024, the outstanding 50% will be paid. And he equally promised that there was going to be a follow-up meeting to discuss the issue of palliatives, because he's the coordinating minister of the economy of Nigeria. So anything that has to do with the economy and finances, of course, is directly under his supervision. So he said he's going to meet with us to discuss the palliative, the bulk payment of SDA, of the new rate of SDA, and as well as the minimum wage and any other outstanding issue that had to do with the military veterans. That was what we agreed with him, but unfortunately, we were unable to meet with him after that first meeting. But the following day after the meeting, he promised we were going to get the alert will go into the military pension board account. It did. And then we were waiting and hoping and counting on his word and his integrity for the fact that he said on or before the 25th. 25th come and passed, 31st of December come and passed, January 1st, and today is January 7th. We reached out to him. Actually, we understand that there's a process, government process of trying to get funds, do all the necessary things. But then, eventually, we said, after meeting with the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Defense, and then stakeholders were there. Like if you were there today, you saw what happened.
Yes.
The DSS were there. From the DSS headquarters, they sent in representative to speak with us. We said, no, we are not living, we are not violent, we are peaceful, we are orderly, because we are military men. As retired military personnel, of course, we are on military reserve list. We can even be re-engaged at any time. So we are naturally disciplined and orderly, and we will never do anything that will be out of order or create chaos or discomfort for government. Okay,
then what then was the resolution today?
Well, the resolution was simple. Eventually, after all the halu-balus, the Permanent Secretary, like I said, Minister of Defense, was there twice. The Commissioner of Police, FCT, was there. The DSS were there. Everybody was there trying to convince us to leave the place. We say we're not leaving until we get alert. And at the end of it, we were promised that before 4 p.m., surely the money would drop into the account of Military Pension Board, and eventually it did. And then we said, okay, as that has happened, we will not move, even when the Permanent Secretary that we so much believe and trust him, but yet when he come, we refuse to leave at that until we see the Chairman of Military Pension Board come to address us. He came in, he addressed that the money has dropped into the account of Military Pension Board, about 23 point something billion. Then after that, we were ready to disperse, and then we addressed our men that, okay, the money has come, the MPB chairman has come, he has addressed us, we know, we trust the man. So once he said it, we know he's going to do it. In any case, it was not his effort alone, it was a collaborative effort of course, the Minister of Defense, the main Minister Badaru, the Junior Minister Matawale, and of course the Permanent Secretary, even the Chief of Defense Staff, and the Minister of Finance. We appreciate eventually at the end of the day what happened, but we don't have to go through this before we can get
our own just on a final note, and before we let you go, I'd like to hear from you. What do you think is the implication of this attitude of government towards the current servicemen? I
think the implication first is there's going to be distrust and discomfort. It will create distrust between the veterans and the authorities, and in fact even the serving personnel and the authorities, where you will say this and at the end of the day it might not happen the way you say it or the time you promise it is going to happen. That is very, very dangerous. But then we are meant to understand, like I said, the President and Commander-in-Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved this thing, but the issue of funds and what have you were what brought the challenge. But eventually we got it. We hope that is not just the end of it. We have the bulk payment of SDA. We have the issue of palliative. We have the issue of deduction of medically boarded personnel. We have other pending issues. We even have the issue of Veterans Federation of Nigeria. Okay. But one important thing there is that we have got the commitment of the Minister of Defense, Badaru, and his State Minister, Matawale, and of course the Permanent Secretary, that all that is outstanding will be followed duly, and that they will not allow us to come to the street again before getting whatever we're entitled. So here we want to appreciate, to appreciate the President and Commander-in-Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Minister of Defense Badaru, the Minister of State Matawale, the Permanent Secretary Ambassador Aduda, of course the Chief of Defense Staff, and the Minister of Finance for, in any case, eventually giving us our entitlement. But like Oliver Twist, we are hoping and waiting for the bulk payment of SDA, the issue of palliative, and of course we hope that the outstanding, the deduction for the medically boarded will also be paid, and the medical itself.
Indeed, we can only hope that all of the remaining issues are
will all be encompassing. Yeah, we hope it will be all encompassing. So we appreciate all this that I have mentioned. We appreciate the veterans for cooperating to come in to be part of history, because this
we
is
also
history.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. There we have been speaking with Deputy Veteran Commander Awal Abdullahi Aliyu, who joined us on the News Hour tonight. Thank you so much. We do
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And now, amid a staggering 28 million housing deficit, tenants in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, are facing increasing hardships as landlords hike rents, leaving many struggling to meet annual obligations. Over the years, residents in the Federal Capital Territory have called for stronger legal protections against arbitrary rent increases. Now, with economic pressures mounting nationwide, their campaign has gained new urgency. Trustee Ibrahim Ismail brings us the human stories behind the numbers.
Live in Abuja, Nigeria's seat of power, is one of the toughest challenges for residents. But for many, keeping a roof over their heads has become an even greater struggle as fluctuating rent terms drive tenants to the brink. Take 38-year-old Solomon Patrick, an artist who now resides in Kadokuchi. Before moving to this community, he had an exhausting battle with his previous landlord over student rent hikes that he could no longer afford.
But along the line, they now connived because the house was very tattered. I'm the one that fixed it to the normal house. Then along the line, the landlord now connived, started telling me that he need the house. He want to make use of the house. Not knowing that he want to give it out to another person. And I asked him, is he going to increase house rent? He said, no, they want to make use of the house. I said, oh, there's nothing I can do. And I found out that he put another person inside the house after I fixed it. So I was frustrated, a little bit frustrated.
Like how much did he rent it out?
Almost 300,000.
While tenants like Solomon share tales of frustration and financial strain, some landlords argue there are procedures in place before adjusting rents.
And at the same time, I, as a landlord, I always make an increment because I have a family that do care. And I'm a farmer. Quite okay. Farming in Abuja is not just easy because there's not enough land that where we normally harvest our farm products. So it's through the tenants and of my property, the houses of my property, it's through there I do earn and pay my school fees, the school fees of my children, and other things like food, hospital, NEPA bill, water bill, and etc.
In Kadokuchi, community leaders have taken on the role of mediators, stepping in to resolve disputes and ensure fair negotiations between landlords and tenants.
As a landlord, before you increase a house to the tenant, you have to inform them. So time to so time, I'm going to increase my house rent from so amount to so amount. You will enter an agreement and agree for a particular amount. Yes, I'll be paying this before the payment commences. And after that, if a tenant have a problem with a landlord, our door is open. We do tell a tenant to come to the palace and tell chief that I have a problem with my landlord. Let's sort it amicable, not going to police or courts.
As conversations about rent control and tenant rights intensify, legal practitioners are joining the call for reform, advocating for laws that balance fairness and justice.
No, basically, like even the Recovery of Premises Act that's applicable in Abuja right now just is silent about the protection of, about rent review. So much of the provision of the Recovery of Premises Act applicable in Abuja only talks about recovery of the premises, notices, period of notices, and rest. But nothing that has to do with rent review is provided there. And that means that each tenant is left to the provision of the agreement they entered with the landlord. So basically it's like a laissez-faire, a free market, whereby it is expected that what you agree with your landlord is what is going to be applied when it involves any dispute on that particular agreement. So it's expected that the lawmakers, most especially in Abuja, or the business-prone environments, should look at this kind of situations, provide laws, provide those protections to tenants as well as landlords.
With Abuja's population exceeding 4 million, the city continues to battle a housing crisis that leaves many grappling with inflated rents amidst the country's worsening economic conditions. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now, as the economy continues to bite harder, Nigeria is facing an unprecedented onion crisis, with prices skyrocketing to record highs. In Kebbi State, the situation is becoming alarming as our reporter x-rays the factors driving this surge and its consequences for the nation. The report.
The price of onions has soared dramatically, with increases exceeding 100% in recent weeks. Previously, a kilogram could be purchased for around 200 naira, but now prices range from 384.2 naira to 605.51 naira per kilogram, with some online retailers charging as much as 4,000 naira. Agronomist Joel Aiki attributes the ongoing onion crisis to several factors. According to him, despite the state government's efforts in providing free fertilizers and solar pumps, high input costs such as fertilizers, seeds, and other farming essentials, which have become significantly more expensive, are a major contributor. Weather challenges and supply and demand imbalance have also played a role. However, broader interventions are required to fully address the crisis.
The hike in onion price has affected us deeply for us that buy and sell, because the onion is very expensive. Even when we come to buy from those that supply the onion from their farms, we used to buy it very costly, and if the customers come to buy from us, they complain how the onion is very expensive. So it makes the business to be hard for us and the customers to buy.
For now, we only want divine intervention. Sometimes, if we come to the market, the prices will favor you, and sometimes they won't, because onions have become overly expensive. Until recently, this was due to increase in petroleum prices. Even if you complain to the farmers, they will tell you it's because of the fuel price hike. Now, you need huge capital to venture into onion business. As prices remain high, both traders and consumers are struggling to cope, with many seeking alternative ingredients that disrupt traditional cooking practices. This situation raises serious concerns about food security and the economic consequences of extreme price volatility. From Birnin Kebbi, Cynthia Yungu, Trust TV.
Despite recent reductions in fuel prices, transportation fares in Lagos State have remained high, prompting residents to call on the government to establish monitoring agencies at fueling stations and within transport unions to ensure compliance with regulated fuel prices. The report.
Commuters across Lagos are expressing frustration over persistent high transport fares despite the recent fuel price reduction. While the Nigerian National Petroleum Company has lowered fuel prices, Commercial bus and tricycle drivers maintain they cannot reduce fares due to the high prices they are still paying for fuel at many filling stations. On December 19, 2024, the NNPC reduced ex-depot price of fuel to 899 naira 50 kobo per litre. However, this change has not translated into lower transportation costs for citizens, raising questions about the effectiveness of the price reduction. Speaking with transporters at various motor parks in Lagos, they emphasized the need for government oversight of filling stations as many continue to sell fuel above the regulated price.
Now we are still buying it 950 per litre. How can you expect us to carry 200 for you to Mobi? It's not possible now. It's not possible. Mobi, some filling stations they are still selling 1,200 naira. Some filling stations they are still selling 1,000. So government need to monitor those filling stations. Let the fare come down to 500 naira per litre. The transport will not come down.
I so much believe there is a need to monitor filling stations because of some filling stations that are selling, they're still selling high price, and some filling stations are still selling low price. And I believe some filling stations that are selling low price, the meter that we are buying for, they have released the meter. So I believe there is a very, very need for filling stations to be monitoring.
Commuters echoed this sentiment, urging the government to establish monitoring agencies in all states, focusing on both filling stations and transport unions. They believe this would ensure adherence to government-set fuel prices.
So we beg the government to monitor the filling stations so that they will be selling the price that they drop it. As they are selling the price of transport will drop so that it will flow to the market women, so that the market women will drop their own price. Because if the transport is expensive for them, there is no way they can drop the price.
Before now, I believe that government should at least monitor the filling station, because even what the dispensation are dispensing, it's not really commodity. Even the price they even fix in the four seasons. So I believe that if government want to do something concerning this, concerning bringing the price of goods down, they need to monitor, one, the filling station. Two, they need to even call those people in charge of the transport union. They need to call them and talk to them.
The government has to monitor the filling stations and make sure that they are selling at the official rate. And also the road NUWRT, they have to, make sure that their people reduce the price of transport. Otherwise, the effect, will be too much for the masses to bear.
Bus and keke napep drivers are therefore calling for further fuel price reductions, ideally to 500 naira per litre. They believe this would significantly alleviate the financial burden on both commuters and transport operators, making lower fares a reality.
You're watching the News Hour tonight, coming to you live from Trust TV studios in the nation's capital, Abuja. Coming up ahead. Gombe State marks 6 months HIV-free for newborns. We'll bring you details of the story and more after the break. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that retired military officers storm finance ministry over unpaid benefits. You also heard Abuja residents decry impact of arbitrary rent hike amid tough economic climate. And now to other stories. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has clarified that at least 2 men were killed when an improvised explosive device exploded on Monday in the Kuchibiu community of Wari, Abuja. Initial reports suggested the victims were students, but the FCT police spokesperson, Josephine Ade, clarified that the deceased were 2 men who died while tampering with the explosive device. She added that a 3rd man and a female trader sustained severe injuries and are currently receiving treatment under the police guard. The FCT Police Bomb Squad has confirmed that the explosion was caused by an IED with remnants of the device recovered from the scene. Meanwhile, Adamu Ashimu, the owner of the affected school, has been taken into custody for questioning.
Yes, they get the name of these people.
But the people that beat it, there are people that are in this statement. One year that is selling our is in the country. Then
the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has revealed that the Nigerian Army would soon unveil improved welfare packages and allowances for frontline troops fighting insurgency, banditry and other security challenges across the country to boost their morale in the ongoing fight. He said the packages would include construction of houses and other benefits, just as he warned against any form of indiscipline and disregard for orders in the ongoing fight against insecurity and banditry. He stated this while addressing the troops in Minna, Niger State, after declaring open the 2025 Doctrine and Training Conference themed Understanding Nigerian Army Doctrine for Effective Training Within a Joint Environment. It was organized by the Training and Doctrine Command Headquarters, Minna. The Chief of Army Staff also unveiled the Manual on Chemical, Biological, Radiological and Nuclear Warfare.
I've always maintained the fact that there will always be challenges. And our job is to react appropriately. And you talking about lack hours, you agree with me that for now, it's obvious that we're doing our best to checkmate them. You can see that the activities are greatly reduced in that region because our troops are in the field. And we're even inducting more troops to ensure that we drive them away from our land. So I can assure you that we're doing our best to ensure that we take them out of Nigeria. So it's part of the techniques of the adversary to ensure that they delay our movements whenever we're coming to attack them. And that's why they employ IEDs. But despite that, because of the courageousness of our soldiers, we still find a way of getting to them.
Still on security matters, the Police High Command on Tuesday revealed that an alleged cyber criminal has hacked into the system of Enugu State government and stole the sum of 1.097 billion naira from its coffers. The force said it took the intervention of the operatives of its departments, the Nigeria Police Force National Cybercrime Center, to trace the hacker and recover the stolen funds. The force spokesman, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who disclosed this to journalists in Abuja during a press briefing, gave the name of the hacker as Onuma Osita. Adejobi told newsmen that the hacker had already been arrested, while the fund approximated to be $754,977 has been recovered and returned to the state government purse. He added that 14 land documents were recovered as proceeds of crime, while 685 devices were also recovered, comprising 467 phones, 137 laptops, 46 routers, 4 Starlink, 28 desktop, 4 servers and a drone. Reeling out numbers of the recoveries, Adejobi said operatives also apprehended a suspected cyber criminal, Douglas Victor, who was linked to a syndicate specializing in identity theft, business email compromise, computer-related fraud and money laundering. Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has ordered a dusk-to-dawn curfew in Owo, the headquarters of our local government area. This was contained in a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ebenezer Adenio. The government's action is coming after violent court clashes and security disturbances in Owo, which have led to the loss of lives. According to Adenio, the Governor has also asked security agencies in the state to enforce the curfew, ensure the safety of lives and properties, arrest perpetrators of the violence, and restore peace to the community. 4 persons were confirmed dead in the clash between 2 suspected cult groups. One of the victims, 52-year-old Fisayo Oladipupo, a former youth leader of the APC in our local government area, was shot dead in the early hours of Monday by assailants suspected to be cultists. His remains have since been deposited at the morgue of the Federal Medical Center in Owo. And the police command in Abia State has demoted a police corporal to a constable over his involvement in unprofessional conduct. The command spokesperson, Maureen Chinaka, confirmed the demotion in a statement on Tuesday. According to the spokesperson, the decision followed the conclusion of an administrative action in which he was tried in an orderly room and found guilty of discreditable and unprofessional conduct and incivility to members of the public. She said the State Commissioner of Police emphasized the command's zero-tolerance policy for any form of unprofessional conduct among officers that could tarnish the image of the force. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has decorated 181 police officers who were promoted to higher ranks in Katsina for their resilience and commitment to service. The IGP was represented at the decoration ceremony by the Katsina State Police Commissioner, Aliyu Abubakar Musa. Abdullahi Yamadi completes the report.
The IGP, while tasking the promoted officers to continue with their hard work, dedication and commitment to duty, called on them to respect civilians and the communities they are serving, especially those that will be posted to areas prone to insecurity. The senior police officers include 2 chief superintendents who moved to assistant commissioners of police and 13 superintendents to chief superintendents of police. Other officers promoted are 9 deputy superintendents who scaled to superintendents, as well as 130 assistant superintendents 1 to deputy superintendents of police. In the same vein, 25 assistant superintendents 1 were also promoted to the rank of DSP, while 2 ASP 1 who paid the supreme price while serving their fatherland got promoted to DSP.
I want to tell you that any officer, after posting you to your new duty post, and you are found wanting, either extorting or molesting the civilian and the good people of Katsina, I will not tolerate it. I will deal with you decisively.
While congratulating the officers, the IGP urged their wives to always support their husbands to enable them explore their full potentials in the task of effectively securing lives and property of residents. Meanwhile, public commentators are hailing the IGP and the Police Service Commission for ensuring an accelerated promotion of men and officers of the police, highlighting the crucial role they play in maintaining law and order. Abdullahi Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
In health matters, authorities in Gombe say no child has been born with HIV in the past 6 months. This achievement, according to the state government, highlights the effectiveness of ongoing efforts to eliminate mother-to-child transmission of the disease by the year 2030 all over the world. Hassan Koli has more.
As the goal of fighting HIV/AIDS intensified all over the world, Gombe State is celebrating a major milestone in its fight against the disease. For the first 6 months, no child has been born with the disease, a testament to the commitment and collaboration among health partners.
For the past 6 to 7 months, we have not recorded any child born with HIV in Gombe State. And even those that are affected with HIV, we make sure that they adhere to their treatments. The drugs are free and the HIV testing is free. And all our facilities, we have about 34 facilities in Gombe State that are giving the services for HIV in Gombe State. So everywhere you go, all the local governments that you go here, they have a center that will give you drugs, that will test you. Even sometimes if you go to even some of the facilities that are not covered by the partners, they test HIV and they can refer you to where you can get your treatment.
The state's success is attributed to the Prevention of Mother-to-Child Transmission program, which ensures that pregnant women living with HIV receive antiretroviral therapy to prevent the virus from being passed on to their babies. The state has also intensified grassroots sensitization efforts, with community health workers going door to door to educate families about HIV prevention and testing. Despite this progress, health officials say the fight is not over as sustained efforts are needed to ensure these gains are maintained and to achieve the broader goal of an HIV-free generation.
There is a drug that also been introduced for those who are taking injection through those the drug addicts. So we give you a substitute of the drug that you are taking, and that one will also prevent you from getting HIV. It's an opioid. So you take the drug and you gradually substitute from the one that you use to take you out of your senses. Gradually you withdraw from drugs and eventually you will stop taking that drug. Because normally we assume key populations are one of the sources of getting HIV. And when I say key population, we have people, men who have sex with men, the female sex workers. If you sex worker now, they will tell you it's not only female that sex, even males are sex sellers. And also those that use drugs, and also they have the transgender. These type of groups are the ones that are now predominantly spreading HIV in our community. But measures have been taken with this introduction of these two methods that are the pilot will suggest from Gombe and Bauchi.
Stakeholders say with these efforts and more, a future free from disease is within reach. From Gombe, Hassan Koli reporting for Trust TV.
Coming up next is Yusuf Akogu for the stock exchange market.
Welcome to Stock Market Update. I am Yusuf Akogu. NGX records first negative trading session in 2025 as profit-taking hit insurance sector. The all-share index went down 0.24%. The index also up there 103.398.82 basis points. The market cap 63.05 trillion naira. Of course, in terms of volume of trade, 1.11 billion shares, value at 14.64 billion naira in a list of 16,617 lead exchanges among investors. Looking at the top losers from today's trading, Altri Briscoe lead a table 10%, it lost to close at 2 naira and 70 kobo per share. FTN Cocoa also down 10% to close at 1 naira and 80 kobo per share as well. Veritas Capital also down 10% to close at 1 naira and 54 kobo per share. Of course, some equities also recorded gains. Leading the table is PZ. PZ gained 10% to close at 27 naira and 50 kobo per share. Abbey Microfinance Bank also up as well, 10% to close at 3 naira and 63 kobo per share. Len Africa up as well, 9.90% to close at 5 naira and 44 kobo per share. While looking at the top trading equities by volume, First Bank of Nigeria holding lead the table 161.46 million shares traded. ICO, an insurance company, 120.70 million shares. Of course, Tantalaza PLC, 104.76 million shares. It's also traded as well. And that's the highlight of Nigerian stock market. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. And that's Stock Market Update. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Yusuf Akogu. And now to developments away from Nigeria. John Mahama has taken the oath of office for a second term as Ghana's president in a grand ceremony held at Accra's Black Star Square, witnessed by about 20 African leaders. Mahama's return to power comes after a decisive victory in the December 9 election, where he secured 56% of the votes, defeating Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia, who garnered 41%. The report.
A new chapter begins for Ghana as John Mahama takes over from outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo, who served 2 terms in office. Accra's Black Star Square was a scene of jubilation as thousands of supporters waved Ghanaian and NDC flags, breaking into spirited dances to the rhythm of drums and vuvuzelas. The 66-year-old John Mahama was sworn in alongside Jane Nana Agyemang, making history as Ghana's first female vice president. His inauguration marks the end of an 8-year reign by the new patriotic party under Nana Akufo-Addo, a tenure marred by economic challenges, an IMF bailout, and a national debt crisis.
My administration, along with my Vice President, Nana Akufo-Addo, will prioritize inclusivity, accountability, and innovation, forging pathways that would lead to the upliftment of all of our citizens. I'm profoundly grateful for this moment, a cornerstone in our journey towards a brighter future for Ghana. In this resounding victory, I see a clarion call, particularly from the youth of Ghana, a generation that is brimming with potential and dreams that are waiting to be realized. Now more than ever before, we need to strengthen our ties with our neighbors to ensure that we're working together to keep our sub-region safe. We stand in solidarity and work in alliance with all our neighbors in the sub-region. Recognizing the history of our borders, we also acknowledge that on the other side of our country's borders are our family members.
The event drew prominent leaders including Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Senegal's Bassirou Diomaye Faye, Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré, Kenyan President William Ruto, Felix Tshisekedi of DRC, and Gabon's Brice Oligui Nguema. In his remarks, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu hailed African democracies, emphasizing that the continent has proven its capability for democratic governance and progress on the global stage.
We celebrate African democracy as Ghana and our beloved people mark the transition from one democratic government to another. This moment does not merely symbolize another milestone in the evolution of Ghanaians' democratic society. It further demonstrates that in West Africa, we are capable of democratic and productive endeavors. It is time that our continent critics stop forgetting the strides that Nigeria and others have made.
Mahama's return to the presidency after leading Ghana from 2012 to 2017 resonates with voters seeking change and economic stability. Despite past setbacks, his victory symbolizes renewed hope for many Ghanaians. Abdullahi Ahmed, Trust TV News.
Quite a celebration there in Ghana. Joining us virtually is Umaru Sanda Amadu, Channel 1 TV Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour tonight. If you can hear me, President Mahama returns to power at a time when Ghana is grappling with economic challenges. What would you say are the immediate steps his administration plans to take to stabilize the economy and address the debt crisis?
Forgive me, I notice you're trying to speak to me, but I can't get a word of what exactly you're saying. I notice you're asking me a question, but I can't hear you. If you could try and say that again.
All right, and I'll take the question again. I was just asking you, President Mahama returns to power at a time when Ghana is grappling with, economic challenges. I'd like to hear from you. What would you say are the immediate steps his administration plans to take to stabilize the economy and address the debt crisis?
Well, let me say I'm having difficulties hearing, but I get a sense of what you are trying to ask me. Good evening to your viewers. You're asking about the return of Mahama, right. the stabilization of the economy. If I got you correctly, Mahama campaigned on fixing the economy, which has actually tanked over the past 8 years. He promised to fix the country in so many ways, and he used the refrain, reset. He said he was going to reset Ghana in every sphere. He was going to reset Ghana on the economy side, on corruption and everything. There's going to be a complete reset. And he has also promised that he's going to deliver a 24-hour economy to Ghana, which was one of the major things he campaigned on. And Ghanaians overwhelmingly endorsed him on December 7 when we went to the polls. He won by 2 extra million votes, which has not happened before. And he got a very, very comfortable lead, almost 2/3 majority in Parliament. So today's inauguration for us Ghanaians is the moment where we are going to see if he is going to really deliver what he said he was going to deliver. Because mind you, he has been president before. John Mahama has been a member of Parliament before. He has been a deputy minister before. He has been vice president before. He has been president before. He went on an 8-year hiatus and he's back. And we believe that he knows more than many people what is really ailing this country. And if he promises that he's going to fix and reset the country, many people believe so. But then again, the next 4 years are going to be very challenging. We are currently under an IMF program. As we speak, a member of parliament with the governing new party, the new party that has just won office, someone who used to be deputy minister for power when Mahama was president, has said to us that we have enough fuel just to power our power plants just for a few hours, and that in the next 2 days or so, we are going to be thrown back into a national power crisis because the outgoing government did not buy enough fuel to power our generators. So we really are looking forward to a lot of turbulence in the coming days and in the next 4 years. So Mahama has a Herculean task to deliver.
Okay, now let us move very quickly away from Mahama now. With Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman as the first female vice president, what does this mean for women's participation in governance in Ghana?
Forgive me, it's really a struggle hearing you. I really cannot make sense of the question you are asking.
I was just asking you about, the vice president. This is the first time we're having a woman in that particular position. What does this mean for women's participation in governance in Ghana?
It's not working. It's not, honestly, I cannot hear you. Forgive me. I don't know if we have to do something about it on the technical side.
I'm afraid
I can sense you're talking to me back.
I'm afraid then that's the much we can take from you. We have been speaking with Umaru Sanda Amadu, Channel 1 TV Ghana. Thank you so much for your insights and inputs on the news hour tonight. Now, the Nigeria Football Federation has appointed Eric Chell as the head coach of the Super Eagles. The NFF announced the appointment of the Malian tactician in a statement on Tuesday. The appointment of the 47-year-old was recommended by the job by the NFF Technical and Development Subcommittee on January 2. The Federation's Executive Committee endorsed the recommendation a few hours before the announcement. Chell was Mali's head coach at the African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. He led the team to the quarterfinal where the country lost to the hosts in extra time. It's time now to join Adeni Ajishofe for more in sports.
Senegal has been selected to host the 2025 Confederation of African Athletics CAA Zone 2 Under-18 Under-20 Championship. According to the president of the Confederation of African Athletics CAA Zone 2, tinubu Okowa is also the president of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria AFN, said the land of the hospitable lions got the nod ahead of Nigeria, Guinea and Burkina Faso because CAA Zone 2 wants to expand its reach, uniting the region through sport and giving every West African country a sense of belonging. AFN president said the choice of Dakar as host city of the sporting fiesta, a development that followed the Confederation of African Athletics CAA Zone 2 evaluation of sporting facilities in Senegal, the government guarantee and their financial strength. Tinubu said harnessing the sporting potential of the youth is a key component of the administration's development agenda, stressing that its administration plans to use athletics and the combined under-18 and under-20 championships as an engaging tool to create opportunities for young people. Over 500 athletes and officials from 16 nations are expected to compete at the championships, with the last weekend in March 2025 as a tentative date for the competition, while CAA Zone 2 Secretariat will fine-tune the date for the event. And on football, in a bold move to enhance the quality of officiating in Nigerian Domestic Football League, the National Sports Commission (NSC) has engaged with the Nigerian Referee Association (NRA). This initiative highlighted in a recent meeting between NSC Chairman Shehu Diko and NRA President Sani Zubairu. Diko expressed a strong commitment to improving local sports content, underscoring the pivotal role of referees in the growth of domestic league. The chairman harps on the importance of officiating and past collaborations during his tenure in the league, where he supported referees' developmental programs, provided them with official uniforms and other logistics to elevate their performance standards. Meanwhile, NRA President Zubairu commended the ongoing effort and pledged full cooperation towards achieving the NSC's vision for the league. According to Zubairu, we will say that our officiating in the league has been so good as we are entering the halfway mark. We have come to meet with the NSC chairman, who is our overall boss of sport in Nigeria and a key member of the family that understands the issues. Zubairu expressed confidence in Diko's leadership, citing his extensive experience not only within the league but also with the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF), the Confederation of African Football (CAF), and FIFA. This partnership between the NSC and NRA is seen as a crucial step towards revitalizing Nigeria's football scene, aiming to produce a league that combines entertainment and better performance at international level, contributing significantly to the sports economy of Nigeria. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Achisifo.
Very well then, that's about the size of our package for you on the News Hour tonight from our team here in Abuja and other parts of the country. Do not forget, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs and documentary. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good night.